up, I kept saying I don't love it for long term. Short term, yeah, it's fun, but unless you're going to sell out, it's it's temporary profit, and the move down is going to be volatile, and there's a lot of void, and we're going to get some nasty whipsaws because we don't have any base, right? And look here on a long term chart again. If you just go out big picture sometimes, and I'm just using a very simplistic chart here so you can get the concept down. Look at this conceptually. Look at how long, right? I know you guys don't want to talk about this price, but look at how long this base was. And I think this was between what, like 5 and 10 or 4 and 10, something like that. And then look at the breakout that happened, right? And if you want to go back further, right, take it all the way back to here. And then look at the breakout, okay? So having a base is not a bad thing. Like when this thing hit 40 and pulled back and it went, look at the move, guys, look. And this is where everybody got a little crazy. 40 to 60. Are you kidding? Look at that. That's 40 to 60. There's nothing in there. And there's 1, 2, 3. And then it kind of hit its top and you had that nasty correction. And then here was the double top everyone's freaking out about. But when you get those big fast moves without putting in any support, right? Trends that are stronger have those little breaks and those pauses. Those ones that go vertical, they're subject to those kind of whips. Right now, what would be super ideal and not fun? Okay, it's not going to be fun, but what would be great? You see this length of time of that base, right? Give it a year and a half, 2 years. If we spent time between 40 and 60, okay, so that this won't look as wide when it's done. Imagine the breakout off of that. If we did this price action all year long, 40 to 60, all of 22, which I don't think we'll do, but imagine if we did, and then we broke out of that base, you'd be seeing your 150s and stuff like that. So right now, it's the reason for the volatility on the chart, right? You can come up with other reasons you want, but on the chart, the volatility is due to the fact that there was no support put in on the up move. It's just too vertical, too fast. There's no support. So you come back to find it. Where is it? 38, 30, 20. I mean, there's 10,000 point voids with no support in them. So that's what you get. Yeah, guys, again, market. So your short's going to get knocked out here, right? That breakdown bar never followed through. And so I'd be out, break even. And now if you get a sell set up that triggers off the 8, you could try for that third. If we get above the 8 and we get a sell that fails, we get our counter towards the 20. This will be your resistance right here.
Amazon,
top of that bar. And then past that, you get to the 20
if you just want to go down here, watching it at this level.
I see some weak
No, I
winds
think the
coming into
Fed's
Tesla,
been
so looking
hinting
for
at raising rates for a
possible
while. I
setups in
mean, you
Tesla.
can't stay at zero forever, right? I mean, I think they should raise rates. I think they should have done it a year ago. In my opinion, they gave that extra year of free money. I don't think it was necessary. They should have just bit the bullet and gotten it over with. But
$6
I know they were worried
even.
about the economy fears of the COVID and this and that, so they didn't do it. But I think they have to raise them. They have to start tightening a little bit.
Or short something
and
could work.
just do it. Just get it over with. Can't stay at zero forever. And I think the market's anticipating that. Right? I think the market is figuring, okay, this is going to happen. So unless they did it substantial, like let's say the market's pricing in a quarter point and they went a full point.
Breakdown,
okay, that would rock things a bit. And I don't think the Fed's that stupid, right?
They
usually do a quarter point increments.
I don't know if it goes or not.
Even if they went a half point, I think it would be a little jarring. But raise it a quarter point, I think it's priced in. I think the market expects it. And I don't think it'd be that big of a deal. You might get a one-day reaction, but I don't think that tanks the market for 2022 or anything crazy.
Agree, Booth. Trade smart, guys.
Yeah, the third drop's the one where, Patrick, if you don't get any, if you
I'm
don't
waiting
break
for
the lower, and
like
if you get the
full-on
sell
bull
off
candle.
to 8, okay, it's
Personally.
fine. And then if you can't make a new low or you can't get underneath that 458 very long and you start eking back up above that 8 again, that's when I would get out right away. So there's a little 2-minute trigger. I would throw that break even in right now. Right, because the third and fourth ones are the ones that are less reliable than the first and the seconds. The first and the seconds, when you got momentum, they're pretty clean. It's that third and fourth when you start thinking and looking about, yeah, are we really going, or is this going to be our little counter? Because again, that 20 is now in play, right? It's woken up, it's joining the party, so to speak. So, and that's not a huge distance. It's not a
Those
climactic
3150s are
distance, but
playing
there's
pretty
still a
decent
little
for me in
separation,
Amazon.
right? So if this can
No, it's
trade
still
and
Amazon, but
trigger here
it's
and break
working
that
at
pivot,
the
great,
moment.
we get
The
our
way I'm
third
playing
move.
it.
We don't make a new low, we turn a break above that pivot and that 8, and we play the move to the 20. So market's actually been pretty clean today, right? I mean, these moves have been pretty clean.
Nice there, yeah. Those contracts
Not
seem to
that
be the ones to
tricky.
go. I'm holding the short here where the Qs are flushing. I expect
Pretty easy,
Amazon to
pretty
flush
easy move.
halos.
Intel, let's see, Intel. No, I don't want to try to short a strong stock on a weak market. You know, would I have sold into the pivot? Yes. If I had a long, would I have taken some profit at the pivot? Yes. Do I really want to try to short a stock moving up in a weak market? It's not my favorite trade. Right? Relative strength. Intel is rising as the market's falling, so it means it doesn't need any help from the market. So the minute the market catches a reversal, this thing should be able to hold or go higher. So if I'm long, where would I have been long on this thing? Maybe right here. All right, so here's 54. Yeah, here's 54. There's the poke through high. You see you're approaching 54. You're starting, well, if I can break that pivot, I can play a buy set. Boom. So it takes that, you
I'm a
go
little
long,
bent, but what
or
do you
maybe
think
you
about
wait
this
for this, and
Mark
now you
Lemon
got a
Tesla
GBI
for
effect above
short?
54
like
after
it.
the pivot's tested, and there's your trigger, and then you rally up and hit your pivot, and you sell some profit. Would I have
Definitely
thought
try
about
to
a
get in
short
before
right there?
1,000.
Honestly, I would not have thought it. If you did it, it's fine.
Could
It's
work. Just
working.
know the choppiness of
But
the S
just
behind or
because
below you and
relative
do well
strength
below
in a
you.
weak market generally is not my favorite short unless we have a climactic. That's not a climactic because, again, the 20 was kind of asleep. So you had a little extension, profit-taking pivot. If you got aggressive and shorted it and it worked out, you know, that's okay. I mean, you can be aggressive on things. But if you're asking me, like, from a textbook standpoint, would I do that trade every time? I probably wouldn't. I don't know what a generally rising 8 is, but it's generally rising. Gently rising, is that what you meant? Gently, yeah. No, that's not rising.
It's like sitting on
It's
1,000 ticks
flattening.
too. It's like kind of sus
It's not
because of
rising
that
yet.
psychological level.
And remember, your 5-minute 8 is your dominant short-term moving average. Your 2-minute 8 is your early sign. So here's how I would have played this 2-minute 8, Ben. Let's say, Benjamin, you go by Benjamin or Ben. I know the chat rooms just print whatever's in your control center, but Ben, okay. Yeah, and that's the thing. If they register you on your full name, then your full name appears, and some people do go by their full names. I want to be respectful. So here's how I look at this. There's the 2-minute narrow bar sell because we're in a 5-minute trend down, right? We're not that extended. We still have a possibility of a third move. So that's a 2-minute sell. If this hits the 8 and fails and turns and breaks above that 2-minute pivot, and that 8 is proving to hold, then I
A
would
name
go
I
back and
haven't
say, okay,
played
guys,
is
the 2-minute
Facebook, but
8
it's
just
overall
rejected
short.
the
If it pops
sell.
back up to the
How far are
21,
we from the
watch it for
5-minute
another
8? And
short.
let's check that sell setup and look for a counter. But I would not stop myself from doing that short when the 8's flattening. If the 8 is a full out hook, right? A hooking 8 is a concept that you need to learn. Might as well draw that too real quick. A hooking 8 is different than a flattening, right? You don't want to be gentle or it's kind of, you want to see it. So if I have an 8 MA and a 20 MA, right? So let's make that blue real quick. Let's make that green. My colors green. All right, so we have an 8 trending up and a 20 trending up, little separation. All right, now this 8 starts to flatten out a little bit. Whoops, I need a new line. Let me just draw it from here. So it starts to flatten out. All right, that's what you were talking about, is gently kind of flat. That's not hooking. Hooking is when it's done that. When it is turned and you clearly see it, okay, that's coming down, right? This is when I get a little concerned about losing the directions, okay? So if I have a 20 that's coming up and my 8 is clearly hooked, right? Think of like a candy cane or a fish hook. You clearly see this, or on a bottom sign, you see that. It's clearly turned, okay? Now is when you have conflict. So if I get a buy set up off my 20 MA, right? So let's say we have a buy set up here. We just took out a red bar here. We had drops into the 20 off of this. Okay, and now I have a buy. This is a problem. This is coming against me, and I'm trying to buy into it. If I'm at a point where the 8 is just flat, I don't care. That doesn't bother me. When it's right there, I need to have enough distance. If it's a counter trend, it should be a 2-to-1 risk reward. If it's with the trend, it can be a 1-to-1. You want to be able to challenge that 8 up here. You don't want the 8 challenging your entry. So the closer that hook is to your trigger, the less I like it. And I'm just going to wait and see if I win. Because one of these two is wrong, right? One of these two is not working. This hooked 8 is either wrong and it has to get back in line, or this 20 is about to get in line and say, oh, I guess we're going the other way. And eventually
I'm
it's
looking
going
at
to
it here
turn,
if we can
flatten
square
out, and go the other way.
for a short.
Okay? So that's a hooked 8. You got to be careful on those. Buys off the 20 with a hooked 8, that's conflict. The way I tell traders to remember it is always envision an arrow on the end of your MA, right? Envision it has an arrowhead on it. And that reminds you, hey, this 8 is currently going that way. The 20 MA is currently going in the other direction, right? The 20 is going this way.
One and done short.
Isn't that a
92.11
conflict?
Tesla.
How can I have both of these be right? 20 pointing up, 8 pointing down. They can't both be right. If it's flat, my MA is flat, my arrow's pointing to the left. Okay, I'm good with that. The 20 saying up, this is kind of pointing in that general direction. That doesn't bother me. I'm good with that.
I like these shorts a lot more below VWAP.
All right. Good deal.
Yeah, same
Good deal. All right, so the 5-minute sell off the 8, it triggered. You got to the pivot low. This is where you need to see the follow through. If this does not break 457, guys, this is market law 4 setting up for a long opportunity on a counter. It's going to be scary because you're near the lows and the 8's right there, but this is where your whole number trade opportunity comes about. Market law 4. You've made 3 or more pivot lows. You fail to make a significant new low. Chances are you're finding a bottom. Now, we might go flat. We might not rally much. We might just slow down. But this is where opportunity arises to find bottoms. Okay? That cannot significantly break the pivot. Okay? And we don't get through 457, and you're going to anticipate a reversal off 457, I would go to like a 2-minute close bar, or those of you that know how to do it, do the whole number trade, take it early. Give yourself probably 30, 40 cents on the bottom and see if we catch a low. It's not moving that fast. It's not that volatile. So I think you can go close bar and be fine. Darcel, of course, no problem. Whenever I can get the drawing board out, and it's not a fast trade where I think we're going to miss something important, I'll be happy to draw. Sometimes the drawings, look like little kids' drawings. It looks like stuff on my kid's refrigerator sometimes. But I think it just helps visualize the words. That's all. I'm not trying to be an artist here. The artistry is in the trades, right? The artistry is in the entries and the exits, The drawings,
I'm not.
you're gonna get
I'm
like
actually
finger
about to
paint.
have to go to the chiropractor, so I'm about to step away.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this. In high school, college, grad school, I had straight A's the whole way through. Right? I mean, I was very academically, I did well, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying it to tell you a funny story. One, it has nothing to do with being a good trader.
Yeah, I'm on the fence
And it
about
was a
locking it
big
in
part
too.
of why I struggled in the beginning because I thought if I just learned all
Currently
the
great
charts and all the
day.
patterns and all the
Well, I mean,
strategies,
I know it's hard
I'll
day,
be
but like
fine. I'll just
I'm
read
doing
all the
fine, so
books and I'll
I'm gonna
memorize
lock it in.
everything.
I've
And I'm
got
really
to go to the
smart, so I'll be a good
chiropractor.
trader. It absolutely has
I'll sit
nothing to
here
do
for
with it.
about
I
another
was a
minute.
horrible
I'll call
trader in the
something out.
beginning, and
If not,
being
uh,
smart, book smart,
I'll be back in a
academic
little
smart,
bit.
business smart
I won't.
has
I'm
nothing to
actually
do
getting
with
fitted for
trading
golf clubs too, so I'll
success.
be back about 2
As
o'clock.
it can make it worse because you think you're smarter than the market, you think you're smarter than your teachers, and your ego just gets in the way and it goes horribly wrong. However, from school standpoint, this is how I knew. This is when I knew as a
Obviously,
kid
I'm
I had
not.
some confidence,
You
right?
guys can do what you
In
want. My
grade
thoughts
school,
on
K
Tesla, if
through
you're bent on
6,
playing
I
that,
got 2
is leave it
C's,
alone. Look at the higher low
right?
to setting
Straight
in. If
A's,
this
high
higher
school,
low
college, grad school.
holds, if this
2
VWAP holds
C's
and it
in grade
bounces
school.
back up, let the 200
1,
break to the upside, let
handwriting.
VWAP break to the downside, then
I was
catch
like,
those
who
moves. If you're
cares?
trying to catch and do
Can
something
you
that's
read the
choppier,
word?
I mean, it's on you.
Okay, if you can't read
expect to
what I'm
lose.
writing, it's one
You
thing.
pretty much can
But
guarantee
because my
expect to lose.
cursive D was not
VWAP,
touching the
super,
dotted line and
super
my
dangerous.
J didn't
do
hook
some
low
common
enough
plays
below,
there.
I'm like, oh,
Amazon
this is
short, I like.
ridiculous.
Facebook
I
short,
got
I
to
like.
see. I'm like, I don't even
Google,
care.
if the market
Right?
wants to go lower.
My parents are like, well,
That's
you
my
should
thoughts.
work
I'll be
on it. I
back
said,
about
I
2
don't
o'clock.
care.
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
go
doing
get
it.
my back adjusted and
The reason
swing some
was
golf
for me
clubs.
to do it
Have a good one,
correctly,
bro.
I had to
You
focus. I
too.
don't know if
Thanks
I just
everybody.
had
Thanks
weak
Booth
writing
for the call
muscles
out.
or
CT Rose.
whatever the
Mitchell,
problem was.
everybody. Trade
It
smart.
took me 3 times as long
Thank you,
to
Gator.
do it
Have fun.
correctly. And I'm like, I'm not getting my other work done. I'm wasting time on this. I'm
I
not
will
doing
have a
it.
show tonight.
And the other
FYI.
C was art class. And I'm like, how can you give me a C in art when art is supposed to be subjective?
Try to log
Like,
off
who
the
are you to
VWAP,
tell
and I
me that
lost
that's a
money on
C?
that whole move.
Like, what kind of crap is that? I turned in my projects on time. Nothing was late. I did the best I could, dude. I am 99% left brain as a child. Like as a kid, I think my right brain was shut off completely. Like I was so analytical and left brained, and the creativity side of me was just really not there. And that was another thing I needed to improve upon when I got into trading. I need to understand that trading is not a science and it is not an art. It is a scientific art, or it is an artful science, depending on how you want to say it. It's both. Both sides of your brain need to be at work. You cannot be an analytical thinker only and do well at trading, and you cannot just come in and freewheel and be creative all day and think that charts never apply and you don't need any math, and that's not going to work either. Okay? It is a nice mix of both. So yeah, I got a C in art and a C in handwriting. And did not give a crap about either one. And in 4th grade, told my parents flat out, I will be getting C's in handwriting because I'm not wasting that much time on it. I'm just not. And as long as you can read the words, we're good. Now in today's school, I don't even understand the point of it. Like my kids still have it and they're learning cursive and I get it, but you know, when he gets points off because his letters aren't touching the line and he gets all stressed out, I look right on and I say, Ethan, I got C's, dude. You're getting A's. You're just getting little ones off here and there. I got C's. I don't care about handwriting. You're going to type everything for the rest of your life once you get past 6th grade. So don't stress it. Like I have these honest conversations with my kids. And he's like, really? I said, I promise you, I would rather you sat here on my laptop and started practicing your keyboard than sitting here writing cursive J's and D's all day. So, yeah, I know they don't. And this one does because it's a private school and it's formal education and, you know, they want you to be well-rounded and understand it. And, you know, I get it, but I'm not going to stress my kid out about it. Like, I don't care if you get a C in handwriting. Now, you got an A because he's just a, you know, chip off the old block and super competitive and overachiever and all that. But I'm like, don't stress yourself out, man. It's fine. My daughter has really nice handwriting. I think girls tend to have nicer handwriting than their kids, so she gets A's anyway. But so when you see my drawings, they're not going to be great. His writing is better. My handwriting got worse, Sharon. I got to be honest with you. It got worse. It's got better. That's interesting. Maybe more focus on it. Yeah, mine got worse. And then when I got when it's when I told my parents years later when I became a doctor, I'm like, you see, what doctor do you know that you can read anything they write down on your chart? When you get your script pad, like you cannot read anything they write. Sharon will tell you when she gets notes from a doctor, it's probably like chicken scratch. She has to call the office and ask the tech, what does this say? Is that a 5, an 8, a 3? What is that? Right? Doctors are horrible with their handwriting. And you would think they would be really good because it's pretty important stuff. So I told my parents I was born to get that doctorate at some point because my handwriting was already there. That's funny. Are you guys the same way? Are you just as bad as the MDs? That's not. I don't know that we should know that because you're the one writing our dosages. Guys, I'm telling you, watch for this counter. This is that market law 4 trade. This is that little sucker short. Don't get caught on this. If you try that short and it's not working, don't hold it too long. And if we break this 8, watch for that move back to this pivot or the 20. All right, this is that market law 4 potential. Now, if we go sideways and we base and the 20 catches up to us and we trap it and then break down, it's better follow through. But if this little poke through the pivot does not go anywhere, this is your counter moment. Yeah, I know everything is on keyboard, and that's the thing with kids too, right? Like I watch him on an iPad, and when he has to type stuff, he's already starting to learn where the letters are, right? Because the virtual keyboard comes up, and they got to type in a password or their name or whatever. They're already starting to get it. So I gave him a laptop, my old ThinkPad, and so my kids have a laptop now. I'm like, guys, look, type stuff. I'd rather you type than worry about handwriting. It's a more important skill. I agree, Armand, but it doesn't have to be graded. You understand the difference? Like I stress that in my trading plan seminar, in my psychology seminar, I stress the fact that writing over typing is better connection with your subconscious. However, I'm not grading your handwriting. Okay? It doesn't have to be neat handwriting. It has to be legible to you. As long as you can read what you wrote down, you're golden. Right? You got to be able to read what you wrote down. Because if you open your mouth and the words don't come out, you're choking now. Did I get it in there? Did I sneak it? Wow, were you guys asleep on that one? Did somebody catch it? Ah, you got it. There we go. See how it went full circle? You see how I took it full circle from the open? Yeah. That's the other thing. If you're new, you're going to get some entertainment value. Love it or hate it. You're going to get stories about my kids. Love it or hate it. That's just what's you're going to get a lot of sports talk. Not a sports fan, that's going to be a tough one for you, but it's going to happen. Just being honest with you. It comes that 5-minute counter, so got to watch that, right? Told you that was market law 4 forming off that sell setup. You do not make a significant new low. Be aware. Be on guard. Be ready. Okay, we don't have it through the 8 yet, but we have it off the whole number at the bottom. So if you were aggressive off the bottom, 457, you're in, break even. If you're aggressive on a closed bar, right, you see a little poke through and immediately reversed, you're in. I would say break evens should be in on the counters. And I think I want the 20 a little closer before we try another short.
Yeah.
Right, if this sets up a ribby right here, and then breaks through, it's going to test the prior pivot and probably the 20. Market law 4 is the
No,
failure to
okay.
make significant new low after making a series of new lows. You know what market law 4 is. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. What just happened right there? Even from here, that's not really significant. So you got to be on guard here. Right? Got to be prepared that may not give you the follow through. Okay. Now again, with your counters, break evens go in quick, because if we're wrong on a counter, we don't want to sit there and hold it. We're going to get out. But we're aware of this fact that this trend might be getting a little tired, might have to go a little sideways, might have to breathe. That 20 should get a little closer, I think, before there's substantial follow through. We don't want to play in the trend direction for a little mini gain anymore, right? We want to make sure that if we do it, we're going to get another substantial move. So I like that 20 to get a little closer before I would short that pivot low. If you want to short it off the 8, you're more than welcome. I'm going to hold off on shorting the 8. I will take the stop off, break even on the counter, but I'm not going to short anymore. Not till that 20 is closer. Okay. I need to learn that name. Muruganatam, is that right? Did I say that right? Muruganatam? How close am I on that? That was right? Okay. All right, the last name is going to take. Oh, I lost sound. Sorry about that. Just call you Murugan? Okay. Do I have that correct? All right. Can I say your name? Can I call you Habib for short? Is it Habibullah? Yeah, not bad. Not bad. All right, so we'll go with Murugan and Habib. That'll help me. Appreciate that. And I think pivot high and the 20 are the upside targets here. Here, Habib as well. All right, we're gonna have more than one probably, right? Like there's more than one Steve, there's more than one Bill, like the common U.S. name. So it's okay if there's more than one. I'll know who I'm talking to based on the posting. Hesham, thank you. Appreciate it. So draw the market law 4. Yes, I will draw. Derek, of course, will be ready to rock this week for coaching. We'll see you then. Enjoy your day. Yeah, I will draw the market law 4 in a minute as soon as I watch this trade come up here and hit that pivot high in that 20, and that's going to be my day 2. We're going to put that in the books. Man, this is a big day, guys. I mean, nail this short. Now we got this counter. If this thing rallies to the 20, it's a big day for Danny. Elvin went over this. That's more. I know you weren't here early because you're on the Cali time. Yeah, it's going to be March. It's going to be, and I will draw your market law for you in just a second. We're going to watch this play out here. Yeah, Elvin, man, you should. You know what you missed this morning? Because I was out last week. My son had COVID, which is why I was out. We had to quarantine our kids and each other, and it was quite a nightmare first week back. But yes, I came back onto a little Eminem "Guess Who's Back" theme music. I thought you would have appreciated that. Yeah, he's good. It was a rough time, and it was 103-degree fever spikes and about 5 days worth of fever. It was pretty bad. He had a full-blown, I mean, full-blown case. It was not like mild. It was nasty. And I'm going to tell you the crazy thing, dude, the one night, like it was weird. He was definitely not awake, okay? I promise you, he was not awake. His eyes were open and he was just, it was like something off The Exorcist. He's like screaming, then he's singing, he started rapping. I'm like, what is he, like songs that he knows, right? And my wife's like, what is he doing? I'm like, that's actually a new song I let him listen to last week. I mean, he was completely, it was like he was tripping. Like he had taken shrooms or LSD or something. And I'm like, that's that fever, man. That fever, like, take his temperature, 103 point something. I'm like, so he was just having like wild hallucinations and was not aware of it. And it was like 2 a.m. My wife was just scared to death. She's like, what is happening right now? I'm like, that's that fever. It was crazy. And he didn't remember any of it. Did not remember a damn thing. And I will tell you this. Here's a phenomenon. I don't know if you guys have heard this phrase yet. I had not heard this, but apparently, and there might be other terms, but his pediatrician called it COVID fog or brain fog from COVID. Okay. And it's like, listen, even when you're past it, your brain is a little fuzzy for a while and you might be like forgetful or you might not process information as quick as you're used to or whatever. I hadn't heard that yet, but it's real. Yeah, it's a real phenomenon because once he had it and it scared the hell out of me. Like you talk about the like freaking out as a parent. I called the doctor the day this happened. I said, okay, does my child have damage from this? She's like, what are you talking about? I said, he just got 50% on his math homework. This kid is a math whiz. He just told me 6 times 4 was 20 and swore up and down it was 20. I was like, Ethan, what are you doing? I'm like, how is 6 times 4 20? He's like, I'm like, what's 5 times 4 then? And he's like, 20. Like, how can both things be 20? And he's like, oh, I literally, I'm not kidding you. It took him about 10 seconds to add back the next factor to tell me it was 24. And I'm like, okay, that's scary. So I just started doing random math questions with him. And he couldn't do 2nd grade math anymore. I'm like, what the hell just happened? So I called the doctor freaking out. I was like, does he have is he dumb now? Like, what just happened to my kid? And the week before, at Christmas dinner, he was showing off, okay? Yeah, I'm not gonna go short though. Not till that 20 gets here. Okay, if that 20 gets on top of us, we flatten out and break down, that's fine. All right, if you're out of your long, I'm okay with that too. If you got a break even on a counter, I'm good with that. But I'm not a short guy until that 20 is a little closer, and then see if we can get a hard bar through that pivot. I don't want to eke my way down and try to break that low with the 20 far away. But he was showing off, like, give me hard questions. So I'm doing stuff like, all right, what's 9 squared minus the square root of 8 plus 2 squared? And I'm making him do it in his head, and he's just like spitting out answers. And my parents are like, man, he's getting pretty good at that. My brother was like, dude, we're trying to stump him, and he's just with it. And then a week later, he's telling me 6 times 4 is 20. I was like, oh my God. It scared the hell out of me. So yeah, that's a real thing. It was a couple of days after he was better. It was a couple of days before he could process again. Like his brain was not working. So we started asking and talking to people and calling the doctor and all that. And then the more we asked, we ran into people like, yep, nope, that happened to us and that's fine. And we got through it. And no one has told me it was permanent. We didn't meet anybody that said, yeah, no, it's been 6 months and we still can't, Everybody said it was a short-term thing, but yes, it was very real. One of our attorneys that my wife works with said for a week and a half, he had trouble writing a basic brief. Guy's been an attorney for 20 years. And he's like, I swear to you, for like a week and a half, I had my paralegals write and check my briefs. I couldn't do it. That's pretty scary. No, he's only 8. Manny. We're not doing the vaccines at that age. And seeing as he just had that high dose of it, I'm pretty sure his immunity is going to be as strong as anything they could have given him in a vaccine. I mean, that's my opinion, and everybody has their own opinions on that. I don't want to start a vax on vax conversation. That's another thing I'm gonna have to put on the list. No politics, no religion, no vaccine talk. Like that can right now during the COVID days, that will spark an argument like you cannot believe. That is now the 3rd topic that is off limits. No politics, no religion, no vaccinations. You have your own opinions, and that's fine. It's just too much of a hot button. Yeah, and that's the other thing, Elvin. No one else got it. Like, here, guys, look at it coming up. 20 MA pivot. Oh my goodness. Now, if we break the 20, that's when it gets extra special. That's when it turns into big money. Big money. That's when you start singing the make money, money, make money, money, make money, money, make. So my daughter, I'm going to tell you this real quick. Well, we're getting to that pivot on that 20, and that's a great target for that counter, right? Make sure you get some profit off on that. And then if we get a higher low and break above the 20, market law 4 is confirmed, and it be rally time. So I think my daughter is hanging out with these, in her dance group, because there's all ages. So she's around, high school girls that are in the dance programs. She is just, and now it's starting to bother me, like some of the things she's hearing and saying, and she doesn't even know what it means, but she's saying it, and it's freaking me out because she's 7. And the other day I heard her talking to her brother, and she was talking about her crush. And I'm like, oh, I got to listen to this conversation. And he's like, who is it? And she's like, Holden. I don't know. And he's like, oh, are you going to go on a date? And she's like, yeah, on Valentine's Day. We're going to have a date at lunch. And I'm like, okay, you're 7. This needs to stop. So then the other day I decided to ask, right? I said, Sophia, do you have a crush? And she got all like, she goes, yes. I'm like, is it Holden? She goes, yeah. I'm like, oh, so how long's that been going on? She goes, well, it started right before Christmas, but then I dropped him. I'm like, you dropped him? She goes, yeah, but don't worry, I'm back on him already. I'm like, okay, I cannot have these conversations right now. Now I have brain fog. Like, you're 7. Stop that. I had to go to my wife. I'm like, is this normal? Like, you have a sister, you grew up like, I didn't have sisters. Is this okay? Like, do we need to pull her out of dance? Like, what is happening right now? I can't, like, what is going on? She's 7. I dropped him. I'm back on him. Like, what? And she's like, it's perfectly normal. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just, she goes, that's normal. Girls start to hear other kids. They're imitating the big kids. She doesn't even know what that means. I'm like, all right. I will defer to the mother. I will refer her to the mother. Okay, so very nice target to the 20, boys and girls. And now, like I said, if we get through it, let me draw your market law 4. Now that we're good and I got booked profits, and this is a big day for Danny, good day back. Now I'll draw this out for you. I'm trading the SPXL. Charting the SPYs, trading the SPXL. That's the one that we use in here because it's less expensive, so you can have BP issues for you guys. and spreads hardly ever jump more than 2 cents, maybe 3 at the worst, but it's a pretty tight trading vehicle. Great, and it's a mirror image. It's a derivative of the SPY, so it's exact. You get tick for tick movement as far as following. It's not the same range of movement, but it does exactly what the SPY does. Right? Like there's no. I'll put it up here real quick. See it? It's the exact same chart. It's just $100 and something instead of $400 and something. So it allows you to trade it with BP not being an issue. No, like my son, and here's the thing, I'm trying not to be that dad, right? Well, it's a girl, so it's different. It feels different. I'm trying to be open-minded, but when my son told me he had 6 crushes, I was like, that's my boy right there. 6. And then my daughter says, and I'm like, what? What do you mean you have a crush? What are you talking about? And my wife looked at me, she goes, do you not see the double standard? I said, I see it. It's clear as a bell. I don't know why you're telling me it's wrong. Of course there's a double standard. Yes, there's a double standard. That's my baby girl. What are you talking about? You think I'm going to sit there and not be that overprotective dad? You're crazy. I'm not. The problem would be if I was in denial about it, right? If I was trying to say it didn't exist, then we can I'm fully aware of it. 100%. And I know it's going to cause arguments, and I know it's going to cause fights, and I know she's going to like have issues with me as she's a teenager. I am already aware of it, and I'm working on it, but it's there. Just like the market law of 4 is there. Here's the other phrase of the day, people, new people. Trading is like chess, not checkers. You cannot sit there and think the market's going to play this little game, one jumping at a time and one red square, one black square. You got to be thinking 5 moves ahead, like chess. You don't play chess with ooh, he just took his pawn. Well, maybe I should take his pawn. You better know before he moves it what's happening. You better anticipate 3 or 4 moves for every piece he has, what you're going to be doing and why. That's how you play chess, okay? So when I told you here on this sell setup that if this does not make a significant new low, start looking for the counter. I told you that here. Actually, I told you that here when I said this should be a GBI, and if it's not, you better take this short off at break even. And if you try this sell, be quick to kill it if you don't make a significant new low. This is where we start looking for the counters. Right? How long ago was that? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 45, 50, almost an hour ago when I first mentioned it, and about 45 minutes ago when that sell setup happened, I started flipping my view to a long counter versus a continuation breakdown, right? Because I said, I don't think we're going to get a significant move here. I don't want to play for this tiny little break of the pivot. I want to play that. That's chess, not checkers. So what is a market law for, you say? Let me draw you a nice big picture. This is in your book. I want you to go over it, learn it, live it, love it, know it. Okay. Market law 4 is basically looking for a confirmation double bottom or double top after, here's the key, after you have an established trend, then you look for the trend turn or failure, okay? So it's a trend changing event with a double top, double bottom as confirmation. But we play it before the confirmation. In other words, we want to be in, then have it confirmed so we're already in. And we want to be out of the other side so we're not giving back a ton of our profit, all right? So double bottom would be, okay, I moved up, pull back, hit it. Right here, when this happens, it annoys me, so don't do this. If you want to say to me, potentially a double top is going to set up, we're good. If you see this look and as soon as it hits, you start telling me double top, I'm going to get angry with you. Because if you think that's a double top as it hits it, then that means the market should be the same range for the rest of time. Because how else can I rally, pull back, and go to a new high without going through that price? How do I get here without going through that? It's impossible, which means every time I get there, it's going to happen before I get to trend. And now how am I going to get to this point after a pullback without going through it? So every trending move is going to be that moment of time where it hits the prior high or prior low. So do not start screaming double top every time price retraces to a pivot. It has to be a failure. So it's potentially, yes, potentially, can this fail? Yes. After it fails, you can say, well, we might have it. When is it confirmed? When it breaks that low. Now you go, hey, there's a double top on that chart. That's a double top when it breaks that low. Potentially it's forming, but if it does this and then breaks, now what? Oh, it's just a trend. It's not a double top, it's just a trend. All right, so what you look for, then same with the bottom, right? What you look, let me get rid of this green for a minute. A little fluorescent on my eyeballs here. So what we look for is this. Market Law 4 says that in a trending move, we're trying to maximize our profit in the move. We're also trying to be aware of when we should maybe not be trying to go with the trend anymore because it's getting lower odds. And can we capitalize on the turn and make money on the reversal? That's the whole concept. So what we want is 3 pivot moves. 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3 moves up, each one significantly higher than the last. That is a well-established trend. Now, Market Law 4 says that if the next move does not make a significant new high, we start looking for the double top, and it will probably make the new low relative to the most recent pivot. So from here, I pull back, I try a rally. We're now on guard that, hey, we have 3. The odds of getting 4 and 5 get lower and lower. So now if we hit this, and even if we break it by a little, and then we fail, now we are anticipating, yes, that's probably a good chance at being a top. So we are not waiting for this confirmation to take an entry. We are trying to play it right here off the failure so that when it confirms, we already have this much profit. And now if it does confirm and goes, it's a huge win. We are also taking profits off of our long before this happens so that we don't give back the whole third leg. Right? So if we're long and we see that, we're like, guys, listen, let's start tightening up our trails here. Right? We're long in the tooth on the trade. Like, we don't want to give this whole thing back. We've already had 3 moves. All right? So that's the significance of a Market Law 4. So what did the spies do? Besides making us a lot of money right now. This is a fantastic day. Those of you that are new, you now know why you paid to be in this program, right? This day you're getting an education. You just got like 6 months worth of education in one day. We had to move down, rallied, failed, rallied, failed, rally. I don't think so. That's not very significant. That's time for a counter. Free. So you see what happened there in the market? You see it now? You see it right there? Not a significant low. And here's the rally, and then there's the pivot, and now it's confirmed. And oh my goodness. Imagine if you were short and you were waiting and you gave that all back. You know, like how much profit you gave back, or if you were short here and you didn't take your break even, or if you were short here and you didn't take your break even, and you're like, oh my God, I just took this short, I just lost. Or worse yet, you shorted that pivot and didn't get out immediately. But this is understanding the market cycle, right? It's another, I'll save that for another day, but that's another lesson that's key, right? Understanding market cycle. It's a basic concept, but you got to get it. So that's why I start, like, I was very aggressive with the short side early, right? About 460 and lower and targets, and we have no support. And all of a sudden in here, this is a key concept too. Igniting bars that do not produce follow through. That's not good. That's an igniting bar on a GBI, and the follow through was crappy. So you go, well, all right, maybe I got a gift trade here. Problem is, we're entering market law 4 territory. We're getting past 1030. If that does not make a significant new low, which it didn't, it took 4 bars to break the pivot and barely broke it. And the whole number was broken by 40 cents and immediately reversed. Not good. That's your counter. Oh my goodness, and we're through the 20, and this is a big day for Danny. So let's quickly review what we were able to do today. And this is how good you guys are going to be able to become if you put in the time and the effort when the market cooperates, or your stock. I know today I was market centric, but it was there to be taken, so I took it. Days when the market's not giving its easy reads, I'll be much more active with other stocks for you guys. But first day back in 3 weeks, I needed to be, go to my go-to, my comfort zone. Market was there for the taking. So what do? We had a short here to here. That's pretty good profit. We had a long from here to here. That's pretty good profit. What did I do in here? Try to counter, took a break even. Okay, I can live with that, right? So we had a trade in here on first counter, and counter long there, hit the sell, came down, break even. I think we had one here too, right? Yeah, I did this one too. Counter this, break even. Did not take the short. So one good win here, really big one actually. Nice big win here, and then a break even and a break even. So 2 for 4. I'll live with that. And the 2 losses were scratches. What did we not do? We did not short the 4th bar down, breaking a pivot. This is another. I'm giving you guys so much on day 1. You're going to have to hear this probably 15, 20 times before it sinks in. You do not short multiple bar drops in a pivot. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th bar of the sell setup is what tried to break the pivot. Not a good short. You want the trigger bar taking out the pivot. So right here, this red bar through that pivot, that's a better break. Otherwise, you let this go, see if it can get trapped, and then go again. Right? Do not short multiple bar drops through a pivot. Do not buy multiple bar rallies trying to break a pivot. You're late. You're so late. Like, you showed up for the after party when everybody was going to breakfast. That's how late you are. Yeah, the very first short of the day. That's right. The very first short of the day was a quick break even, and we had to do a GBI to get back into it. That's right. So 2 for 5. And OMG, the trade that just keeps on giving. Oh, Nelly. It's almost 11:30, so if you want to try to play add and reduce into lunch, you can. But now I'm thinking about whole number here at 460 again, and this is a big day, and I'm about ready to just book it and say thank you. Thank you, Miss Market. Yes, always ratcheting up profits with the trade, always. I'm always trying to lock it in as best I can without getting knocked out. It's a balancing act between when to trail, how to trail. You got to decide which method you like. You can do bar by bars, pivots, MAs, profit locks, whatever you want. There is no perfect method. Some days your method will be spot on. Other days you're going to feel like you missed out and gave up too much or got dinged out or whatever. There is no perfect way. Do not frustrate yourself into every single trade trying to find the best way to always get all the money, right? Like, everybody wants, well, what trail, here's one of the most common emails I get from new traders. What trail method is the best for not getting dinged out? Okay, pivots. Okay, but then I give back so many winning trades and I don't make any money. Right, but you didn't get dinged out either. Okay, so how do I get the best method for not getting dinged out but capturing the whole move? Okay, so you want the crystal ball. You want the perfect method, which doesn't exist. You understand? So whatever method you want to use is fine. And just know, and whatever time frame you want to use, you want to trail in the 1, the 2, the 5, there are days where your method is going to be spot on for that trade and it's going to be perfection on the exit. And there are going to be days where you're going to miss some. And it balances out. What you cannot do is chase the trail method all over the place. Like today, I missed out on some of my short, right? I did not get all of it. I got a lot of it, but I didn't get all of it. And that's okay. I got most of it. And on my long here, I got most of it. And if this thing rallies another $1 or $2, I'm not going to get that because I'm done and I had a hell of a day. Okay? So some days you will feel like your trail method, like you cracked the code. Like, dude, I had this thing spot on and the perfect top tick, bottom tick, exit, and I didn't give up anything. So here's what I'm going to tell you to do. When you are done marking up your charts or when you're out of a trade, okay, whatever happens after that, as long as your exit was according to your predefined plan, it doesn't matter. Okay? If you exited prior to your predefined plan and then there's a significant move and you're pissed off at yourself for missing it, take a deep breath. Don't chase it. But then after you calm down, when you're journaling, try to figure out what was it in your head that made you deviate from your predefined plan. The only way you can be as close to a perfect trail, and again, perfection's unattainable, but we strive for it, right? We want to be as tight as we can to being perfect. We're not going to get there, but we don't want to be sloppy. We don't want to be loose, right? The only thing you can go for is this is what I was supposed to do, and this is what I actually did. And the closer you can get those two things to being the same, the better you're going to trade. So if your exit was at 460, right, and this thing hits 460.06, and you got out within a 10-cent window of that target, you did a great job. And that's what I did. I'm out. I'm done. If it went $2 more from there, so what? My target was hit. My target was taken. My day was booked. I did what I said I wanted to do, and I called it way back here. Right? And I said, if we break this pivot, we're going to hit that 20. If we break through that, there's going to be some extra sauce, and we're going to take it. And we got 460. That was enough for me. It's 11:30. I want to be done. I'm out. Not staying here till 1 o'clock today. So if it trends through lunch, that's fantastic. That's great. If it pulls back and does a catch play on the 8 and 20 and has another leg up, and those of you that are here are playing it, that's awesome. That's your money. That's your profit. Anything that happens from here forward is not my trade. So therefore, I don't feel like I missed out. I'm giving you some psychology now. All right, pay attention to this. That's not my trade anymore. So I can't miss out on something that's not mine. Do you understand? Like if a friend of yours happens to get a Daytona white dialed Rolex and you didn't, that's not yours. You can't be upset with your friend. That was not your watch to get. Now, if you didn't answer your phone for 5 days and your AD was calling and texting you saying, dude, I got it. You got to get down here. I can't hold it for more than 3 business days. And you didn't reply, and then your friend went in and bought it. Oh my God, you can be upset with yourself. But if it's not yours in the beginning, you know I'm joking, right? If it's not yours in the beginning, how can you miss out on it? You understand? You can't miss out on something that's not yours to start with. No, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. I would be out for another week or 2 or a month. I would be losing my mind. My phone, dude, I check my text messages for that reason. So it's crazy because when you do get attacked, like literally, it will not be long. One my wife wanted for a long time was an Audemars Piguet watch, and we were on a list. We were on a wait for over a year. And when it came in and she called me, I was like, "You're not going to believe this." This was back in September. I said, "I actually have to go to Las Vegas tomorrow morning. We have a Traders Expo. There's no way I can get down there before I go, and I'm gone for 4 days." I'm like, "I will prepay it right now so that you know I'm serious." Like, and she knew me. She's like, "It's not up to me. It's up to the store manager." I'm like, "Put them on the phone. Like, this is not an excuse. You know me. I cannot get there, and I leave tomorrow morning." So the store manager was cool. And he's like, "You don't even need to prepay it. But if you're not here by this day, it's being released." I'm like, "I promise you, the minute I land, get in the car from the airport, I will drive there." He gave me 2 extra days past that day. He was a super cool manager. But yeah, they seriously will not wait on you, right? If it's something in demand and you're not there, you don't get it. And that would be brutal. Oh yeah, she got it. I got it for her. Yeah. They would be brutal. Like that would see that was yours. It was right there and you didn't take it. If someone else got one and you never even got notified that it was potentially available, it's not yours. So if you exit your trade when you're supposed to, what happens after that is no concern to you. Right? Now you can mark it up and you can chart it and you can do that to see, hey, can I maybe improve my trail methods? Am I seeing this too often? Do I have 50 trades and 20 winners and 20 break evens and 10 losses, right? That's a nice little mix. Now, out of my 20 winners, how many times did my trail method leave significant money on the table? And if it's 50% of the time, then you got to look at what you're doing. If there's 2 or 3 that had nice follow throughs after you were long gone, whatever. 10% of the time, who cares? I'm doing great. You're profitable with what you're doing. You don't worry about it. That's all you can do. The problem comes when you get out of a trade prior to what you defined as the exit, and then there's significant follow through. That's the problem. Like, but you had the trade. It was yours. You took it. You were trailing it. Why did you get out? And the key is why. You have to answer that question. It's not what you did, it's why you did it. And if you don't know, ponder it. It may not come to you right away. You may have to kind of sit there and meditate on it like, all right, what at that moment, what did I was scared of losing my profit. Okay, then write that down. But now why were you scared of losing your profit? Like, did the market like sneak up behind you and go, boo? Ooh, scary market. Like, what scared you? What do you mean? And that, see, that's the secret. What scared you? What triggered in your mind? What emotion leapt up and scared? Like, no one scared you. You're just sitting there by yourself trading. What do you mean I was scared? I was scared of losing. What? Scared of what? Why were you scared? Like, that's a strong word, scared. I don't know too many adults that are scared, right? Unless it's life-threatening stuff we're talking about. But, like, what are you scared of? You scared of the dark? Scared of getting wet? What are you scared of? Scared of the rain? So when you say things like that, you've got to start asking yourself, okay, why? What is really happening? Okay? There's something going on, and you got to figure it out. And for every person, it can be a little different, right? And people start blocking it. They don't want to dig down. Sometimes you don't want to know. Sometimes deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you don't want to know those answers. Right? So you just shuck it off like, I won't do that again. It was just a one-time thing. Like, I don't know. I don't care. Where's the next setup? Now you're missing out. Okay? Now you're missing out. Do not take losing trades for granted. There are lessons in there if you find them. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're great trades that just don't work, and you just say, okay, I did everything right. That one didn't work. Part of the statistical outcome. Then there are times you're like, you know what? Was that really a good setup? Let me go look at that. And maybe you find some errors. And other times, like, is that a good trail? It was, but I didn't follow it. Why didn't I? And now there's more lessons to be learned in there. Okay. All right, boys and girls, it is good to be back. I hope you enjoyed today. If you're new, you got a good introduction. You got about a month's worth of stuff shoved at you here in a day. Welcome to the accelerated class, the fast version, if you will. And the market was helpful. Some days, guys, the market is dead as a doornail, sloppy, choppy, boring, and there's not a lot to do. And on those days, I'll tell you a lot of stories and we'll talk about other stuff and I'll try to do some drawing lessons. But today was great. Market gave us a lot of opportunity to do a lot of different things and bring a lot of concepts to life. I couldn't have asked for a better gift from the market than today. First day back and it hands me this on a platter. It was beautiful. Yeah, good day back. Nice first day back. We had a big day for Danny. Put some money in the bank here, boys and girls. Almost a 5K day. So that's a good way to start off the new year. First day back. We'll take it. That's not going to happen every day, of course, because the market's not going to give us this kind of movement every day. But when it happens, you capitalize. And there'll be days where I make nothing and days where I lose some. But when it's there, and you know, and if you think about this, guys, look, two things. At the start of the day, right, I told you the market was in a good position to have a big move for a big target, and we traded that, right? And then we tried a couple things, counters, and said, let's not do that. And then right here, they started talking about market law 4 opportunities and said this potentially is going to be a big move. If it does form it, it's a big move waiting. So $2+ in each direction, that's a substantial move. All right. So welcome back, everybody that's been here. I'm glad to be back. And if you're new, welcome aboard. And lots to learn here, lots to teach you guys. So just show up every day that you can. Be open-minded and don't expect to learn it all overnight. There is a learning curve in here, just like there is with trading. But I'm pretty sure everybody that's been here more than 6 months will tell you that it will happen. You'll fall. You'll get used to it. You'll get in the rhythm of it. And you will not have wasted time in here. All right. There you go, Mackenzie. That's the right attitude. It is a journey. It's the right way to look at it. First day. Guy, if it was your first day in the room on my first day back, you just you picked a great day to start. I mean, the market was right there for the taking. Sometimes I feel bad for people that do this happens sometimes. So, and I always hate to do this, but I understand it. Like someone's like, oh, I just want a free day in the chat room just to see if it's right for me. And I always tell the guys talking about the program with new potential traders, say, listen, you can do that if you want, but it's a roll of the dice. What if the market is crap on the day they show up? Either A, they're going to think I can't trade or I don't know what I'm doing, or they're going to think trading is boring because we didn't do anything. I said, so it's really hard. Like you're better off giving them a recorded day. Like this is what it's like when the market's in gear. Here, listen to this and go from there. But everybody wants to do it live. And it's always a crapshoot. So all you can hope for is that they can listen, understand the value of what's being taught, even if the market's not doing anything or the trades aren't working that day. It's always the risk you run giving someone a one-day trial. And I feel bad for them if it's a bad day and they decide to pass. I'm like, man, just missed that opportunity based on a bad sample. You miss out. But nothing you can do. I mean, it's just like a trade. They got to make their own decision based on what they saw. Nah, I'm not. Yeah, but Vadim, we can't. A free week? We're not getting a free week. Come on. How pissed would you be if you're like, you guys are giving away free weeks? Do you know how much education I could give someone in a week? And they're not paying for it? Like, there's no way that's happening. I'm not doing that. Yeah, I know. And Vadim, we're not doing that anymore. That was the worst thing ever. We had so many people decide like, oh, thanks. You just taught me everything I need to know. And they didn't learn anything really. Because a week or two later, it all fades away. You know how many times you have to hear that stuff, right? So Oliver's tried that out a couple times, and we haven't done it in a long time because it kind of seemed like it was backfiring. So now what he does is he refers people to the social media. He's like, listen, you want a free week? Spend a week on YouTube. I got more free information there than you know what to do with. And that seems to be a better approach. But then they're like, well, who's trading? Who's in the room? I want to see. I'm like, dude, just tell them this. Join a program, and after 2 months, you don't think I know what I'm doing? Then we'll have a discussion. Right? I will guarantee. I tell my guys that all the time. You two ever signing up, you guarantee they will be thoroughly satisfied with the trading room. That is not going to be their issue. Okay? But you got to give it a few months because the learning curve is a little steep. No, I'm not on YouTube. I was starting it right before I had kids. Right before I had kids, I was starting to like, okay, I'll start doing YouTube and social media. And then all of a sudden my wife was pregnant. I'm like, all right, well, I'm about to be a dad and it's freaking me out a little. So I just shift focus, and then they were born, and the last 8 years has been all about them. And I just never had the time to do it. So yeah, there's not a lot out there. You guys get the education here. You paid for it. You get it from me every day. The people that haven't paid, they get it in other places, but I don't have time right now to do it. You're here to see if I'm worth my salt. Yeah, listen, man, I will take that. I love that. You should be. I would be. Listen, I never take offense to that. I never take offense to that. I want to see if this guy knows what the hell he's doing. Can he teach? Can he trade? Is he any good? Is he going to be able to help me? I'd be doing the same thing. I want to know who I'm listening to. I want to see some performance. I want to see some action. I mean, you have every right to that. I welcome that. And I've never had anyone tell me, this is a waste. What happens is the first day or week, some people get a little freaked out. Like that does happen. And listen, you know who can attest to this the most is Andrea. Andrea will tell you the first time she had to translate, she's like, okay, this dude's a little fast. We went through, guys, I'm going to tell you this is a true story. Andrea, do you know how many it was for sure? Or maybe Santi does if he's around. I know it was at least 2 before you. And they told Oliver they couldn't do it because I wouldn't slow down. And they weren't familiar with the trading terminology. They weren't familiar. It was 2, right? And guys, and these are professional traders. Like these are not just people. I mean, they're like, I can't. He's too fast. Oliver, you got to tell him. And we speak Spanish, and we're telling you he's too fast. Like Spanish is not a slow language, right? And Oliver called me, and he's like, hey man, listen. Yeah, the translators kind of want you to slow down a little. And I laughed. I said, Obi, man, how long have you known me? Like, come on, I can't. If I stop and think, it's going to go bad. Like, it's a flow. It's a subconscious thing. If I have to stop and wait and think about what I'm saying, I lose it. It doesn't work. I said, tell them to translate faster. He's like, I don't know, man. I said, I'm sorry, I will try. So, for like about 10 minutes at the start of the day, maybe I was in sync, and then I was like, I can't do this. It's like handwriting. It's like it is what it is. My cadence is what it is. My speed is what it is. And the problem is the stream of consciousness is just coming, and I'm trying to get it out, right? Like, when I see something or the way I read the chart, when that's just flowing, I'm like, I got to just spit this out as fast as I can so you kind of know what I'm thinking. If I have to stop myself to think about it, now I'm interrupting that stream of consciousness. When it's a Saturday lesson, right, or a coaching lesson, or, okay, we're stopped, still charts, I can slow it down. When it's live market and we're going, dude, that's just how it's going to be. So Andrea was the first one that said, all right, just give me a little time. I will figure this out. And she did. And now she translates with, she has not one time told me to slow down. But yeah, I went through two translators. And it was not intentional, but I told Oliver, I said, listen, man, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm trying. It's not intentional, but you know, Oliver speaks at a different cadence, right? Oliver is he's one of the best speakers I've ever heard, right? And I mean, truly, very dynamic. He's got a great cadence, but his rhythm is different, right? He has a lot of dramatic pauses. So it's a very slower, calming, it's different rhythm. So it's a little easier to translate at that speed. Right. Andrea's telling Bill, let's go. Giddy up. She's like sipping coffee between sentences. She's checking her text messages. Oh, David, you like that? The stream of consciousness thing. It's a big part of it. Trying to get, when you guys are thinking about stuff on your own, when you're trading, like I promise you it's happening. You just have to learn to tap into it. There will be times when you'll feel something like, man, I don't think it's going to work. I should get out, but no, I'm not going to. And then it won't work. And you'll be like, God damn, I knew it. Right. And when you say that, when you say I knew it, that means your subconscious tried to talk to you and you shut it down. Right. If you ever have the reaction, man, I knew that was going to do, then why didn't you listen in the first place? If you knew it, why didn't you act? Well, because what if I was wrong? See, now you want it both ways. Like you have to decide what you're going to listen to. Which voice are you going to trust? And just stick with the same one every time. But intuitively, as you develop as a trader, you will start to feel things. You will start to get that trader gut, as we call it. And it's a real thing. There are times when I'll look at a setup and say, yeah, that's a good setup, but I just don't like it. And a trader said, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't like this. I'm not doing it. And then it won't work. And I'm like, how'd you know? How'd you know? It didn't feel right. What the hell does that mean? It didn't feel right. It means after 20 plus years of day trading, it didn't feel right. I can't and sometimes I cannot put my finger on it precisely. Like I can talk around it. Other times I'll tell you exactly why, right? And I say, listen, this is what you missed in that setup. And this is what I saw. And that's why I didn't like it. And other times it's just, hey, 20 years says that's not going to work, so I'm skipping it. Or I'm not comfortable. Maybe it's going to work, but I don't like it. I'm not drawn into it. I don't feel it's a good setup, so I'm skipping it. And if you want to know what that's about, how to trust that intuition, if you're new, it's a cheap book. You should all read it, even if you've been around. If you've never read it, you should read the book called Blink, B-L-I-N-K, by Malcolm Gladwell. You should read that book. Okay? It's not a trading book, but it will help your trading. And it's just a great book. It's a great read overall. But if you read that book, you will understand what I'm talking about, and it'll help you tap into your own gut feels and start listening to it a little bit as you train it. But it's a good concept to understand. Okay? Yes, Blink by Malcolm Gladwell. Great book for traders. Nothing to do with trading directly, everything to do with trading on a subconscious level. It kind of explains like the zone concept. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. It's when your gut's screaming at you and you don't know why. That's what it explains. Okay. All right, guys. Enjoy your lunch. I will see you back here tomorrow morning, ready to do it all over again. So, again, good to be back. Welcome back. Welcome to the room if you're new. Good day today, and hopefully tomorrow the market's just as cooperative, and we're just getting ready for 2022 here. Looking forward to another good year, trading, teaching, educating. Everybody's going to get a little better each day. It's all we can ask for. All right. We'll see everybody tomorrow morning. Have a good rest of your day. Patrick, yeah, someone will come on here in a little bit. There's usually an afternoon session and a little break at lunch, but they'll keep you posted as to what the timing of it's going to be. Okay. But yeah, you're free to chat back and forth. The only thing I ask is that you be careful. Sometimes concepts or trades get posted and they're not right, or someone's trying to take over. And if you want to post ideas with each other, that's fine. But just you don't know who's who and you don't know who knows what. So moderators will be around, and the chat is not for, it's not a social chat window, so don't start having conversations with other traders and cluttering up the chat box and stuff. And definitely no no politics, no religion, and no vaccine chat. That's number 3 now. We used to only have 2 topics, now we have 3. But yeah, someone will be on to let you know the afternoon schedule here. All right, and I just referenced that book because somebody asked. That's not like an affiliate link or anything. I don't care where you buy it or where you get it, but that was the fastest link I could grab that had the right book and author tied to it. All right, that reference the link. It's not my link or anything. All right, I saw those couple comments. I thought I'd answer them as I'm getting up here, and I'm gonna go have avocado on toast today. Nice healthy lunch. Avocado on toast. Sourdough toast. Good stuff. All right. Enjoy your break. See you tomorrow.